strong about this market over here. Heading into tomorrow, I take some risk off the table. If I were, holding short-term positions, it could go one way or the other quick, and I expect a 1% move, one way or the other for tomorrow's market open at the very least.
Talking about that a lot. I see a lot of people in the chat talking about, like, can the market just break the range already, man? You and me both. I want the market to break out this range and some fireworks to go off.
Yeah.
But yeah, for now we're kind of trading the range. Look at this; it's still bouncing off this, like the lows here at the support, right? And kind of all the stocks kind of following suit. Just kind of taking back a look here. I want to see how this AMD long is kind of looking. You're going to have to give it a little bit more space. Maybe that $100 level comes into play today. I think that's going to be a big bounce, especially since the market is still ranging. But maybe we don't get there quite yet today. Roblox bottom. Yeah, we haven't taken a look at Roblox. Let's quickly take a look at that here. I don't have it here. Wait a second. Yeah, just bringing up Roblox here.
It's more like, no, sorry, I think I said that the wrong way. It's not so much a market of stocks. It's becoming a stock market where everything pretty much goes in the same direction, shy of having some major news one way or the other. But I'm seeing SIGA being talked about, monkeypox vaccine. I think they had the first one approved. I think I can't talk anymore, sorry. But yeah, $15 high there, and now we're trading back at $10. So fading a bit from where we were, I think, in late May, but I have not been seeing too many headlines for monkeypox. I think people are saying that it might be contained. It's absolutely not going to be another COVID or anything like that. So I think this name has been popping off quite a bit from the initial scare, but in more recent times, we've seen that this company has been trading just a little bit lower as we still await more news about how monkeypox is spreading as we await more headlines on that end. And I think see somebody mentioning Mullen, M-U-L-N, Mullen Automotive. This stock is now $1.22. I think this was one that's previously been mentioned on the chat quite a bit. Failed to break out previously back in late March, and I know this was talked about a lot back then when it hit $4. Now it's just back all the way here at $1.22. Not very exciting for today, just down 5%. And I think on a daily candle, this thing gapped up a while ago. Not quite sure exactly as to why, but we're just trying to hold this range between 122 and I'd say 140 or 145. Been seeing a few candles being printed in this area, but inevitably, it's I think it's one of the more interesting stocks to look at. Smaller cap stock that could move against you depending on which way you take. So you got to be careful.
Looks like we got a super chat there from Nicole. So thank you so much, Nicole. This one's for you. Hey, Tony, Fintel says Redbox, short interest float is 180%. How does that change how you look at the chart? Could this be a GME, Volkswagen, purely opinion?
Wow, that is crazy. I didn't know the short interest was that high. I mean, I know, 50%, 60%, that's getting into pretty scary territory there, but 180% shorts are really getting squeezed, I think, in this move, and that's kind of what's driving the stock higher and higher. People piling on, thinking that this name can't move any higher, but that's just creating a positive feedback loop. And so with that, I think Redbox, it would be hard to see this getting anywhere back down to where it was before, the $2, $3 range. But so far, based on that news, could this be the next GameStop for Volkswagen? I know Volkswagen had a massive short squeeze when I think it was...
that was like 2008.
Yeah, before the financial crisis. I think when there was I was reading this report of this one billionaire guy that shorted it and got squeezed out of like several $1 billion. But yeah, no, it could be a very strong short squeeze candidate over here, Redbox Entertainment. If I was a day trader, if I see this starting to break $10 again, I think I might just go long.
Here's the thing, I think since GME happened and AMC obviously with the short squeezes, the banks got burned. The banks got super burned, right? So do I really see that kind of happening again? Probably not to that magnitude. Will short squeezes happen? Of course, short squeezes will still happen. It's part of the stock market, right? But do I see something of that magnitude happening again? Who knows? But unlikely. Just kind of looking at the daily here, Redbox obviously making a double top around $11. I think I was looking at this $11 level before, but looks like it kind of broke it yesterday. Today kind of not really getting there. Kind of want to see it just intraday here. It is kind of down on the day, but yeah, volume only around 10 mil. So, not as much volume as it has had the past couple days, but yeah, I don't know about shorts getting squeezed. Yeah, BABA looking like it's reclaiming this 112 area, right? And it looks like it maybe potentially made a bottom off this 110. This move may be a little bit overextended to the downside if we're looking like intraday here. Can it reclaim VWAP or make a push back to VWAP? Potentially. Hopefully, for Sean's sake there, I think he went long BABA. But yeah, this 110 level seems to be a level. Being down 7% on the day, does it really continue? Is it like really that weak? It did gap up yesterday, right? So, BABA likes to play these gaps. And so many times I've seen BABA gap in the morning, and then, it kind of holds those levels, right? So, I wouldn't be surprised if it holds this 110 or, it gapped to like 107, 108 area yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if it keeps holding that, and, that's why we're kind of getting the bounce now.
So I think we're right about the 2 p.m. cutoff time. Just want to say a big shout out to all of our viewers. Thank you so much for all the support, all the super chats. You guys, we have, like I was saying, we have the best audience over here, and we couldn't be more thankful to have all of you guys watching the show. So thank you so much for all that. I think somebody was asking me we should do a poll to see what the chat thinks about tomorrow's CPI numbers, and I'm not quite sure how I can make a poll over here, but if somebody might be able to do that, we should be able to have one for you perhaps on the closing show for today. So thank you again, everybody. I'm not quite sure if you know how to throw it to Sean and Neil over there.
Yeah, no. Before we head over, we got about like a minute here.
Sorry.
We're looking at the like count here, 2.4K likes. This midday show. Thank you guys for being here with us. It's been a little bit different with Tony on the show here, but this is what you guys want, right? Tony's the man. Tony's the legend. Tony Pepperoni. He's the guy to have on, spreading his knowledge, and we're excited to have him on. We're excited to have him on a little bit more often, but smash that like button, and let's continue this momentum into the closing show. And for now, thank you guys again for having us. It's always a pleasure. And let's send it over to Brendan, Neil, and Sean to finish the day off right.
See you guys.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Yeah, welcome in, 2 o'clock. That means a couple hours left in the trading session. Welcome to the close. We'll take you right through to the end of the day, and yet another negative session developing here as we head towards that. A lot is going on, but individual names definitely giving you all kinds of opportunities throughout the session today. Another red board to look at for the S&P 500 here, pretty much all sectors to the downside today. The consumer discretionary names are kind of break even at this point, even with big moves today in some of the travel names, including the cruise lines, really negative. 7.5% for CCL, RCL, almost 6%, win in LVS there, coming along for the ride as well, 4 or 5%. For both. NXPI down here with a big move today to the upside. Reports this morning suggesting Samsung might be kicking the tires on NXPI. FTNT on a stock split higher today. Otherwise, tech stocks to the downside. Moderna gives it all back and then some. Was higher the past couple of days on some positive vaccine news, but back to the downside in a big way. Almost 8%. For Moderna, VRTX 4% below it there. Healthcare stocks are red. Industrials are red. Not a big move for industrials, but worth a note. Communication stocks, some of the streaming names on here under pressure today. WBD, Paramount, Netflix lead 3.5 to 4.5% there. Everything, it's the same old, really. Consumer staples popping up here a little bit positive. Costco having a nice day. Worth a note there, 3% higher for Costco. There is a little bit of strength coming through from Chinese names once again. That started things off a little bit positive, but have given that back. But there it is, NXPI, FTNT. Costco's down here, Tesla's here, Starbucks, Baidu, PDD, as I said, JD, all back to the downside. It's one of those days. Hope your afternoon's going well. As I said, we'll take you through to 4 o'clock. We'll get into some of the opportunities available to you at the open this morning that we talked about if you joined us in the pre-market. So many ideas this morning, including NIO, including Tesla was higher, if you remember, still is, but giving some of it back. Tesla was higher on that UBS upgrade today and positive Chinese data, but we're going to get into the first review. Here comes Neil.
Thank you very much. We're going to talk Amazon today. Trust me, I'm going to go over PBTS and we're going to talk about some of these big movers. But Amazon was one of these trades this morning where I think there's a lot to be able to learn from. I know some call selling, might have some options action, which can cause a little bit more price movement. But really, it just feels like the air got let out of it. Now, there's only a couple of days post-split that we're going to be looking at here. Obviously, we were looking at 124 before, got the 15-minute chart up because we're really just looking at a couple of sessions worth. Now, we did have a good loose support level, and I'm using the word loose for a good reason, at 121. That's what we're eyeballing. You can also have a look. If you have a daily chart up, you can watch around that 2400 level. 24 and a quarter was relatively big. That's about that same 121 price when you consider the split. So considering the fact that the market was looking weak this morning, I mean, short bias was for a lot of people going to be in there. You're thinking about that resistance level. Now, the thing about a loose price area, and that's sort of the interesting thing, because at the open, there were some good scalp trades, and I think we're both looking at scalping the bottom to make sure that we caught some of this in case you got that market pop. The truth of the matter is, when you have summertime markets, throw in the opening rush, there is volatility with lower liquidity. And at the open, you're really feeling that. So you're getting a lot of these big wick candles where you have to sort of be patient and wait for it to test your level. Otherwise, it's so easy to get stopped out. So initial candle just goes right to the upside. It's like, wait a minute, let's hold off. We did get some in that same channel. I had actually an entry back here on 20. So we got 20 a couple of times and scalped out off that 119.50. We then had one entry right before the open. It spikes opportunity costs all the time. And there is nothing, I will tell you this right now, there is nothing you can do worse than have 3 or 4 good ideas out there and then have the hot chick or new kid on the block come and take your attention away. It's the worst thing ever, because what was I looking at short? Amazon, Novavax, and Bilibili. Instead, that PBTC or whatever the heck it is went nuts, and I get distracted away from it and do not take this softball trade to get a re-entry off of 121. And then you see it flush right back, giving you that range in a 119.50. Now, at noon, when it holds the low here, I kind of usually have this rule. When I do a pop and fade trade, if we hold that low till lunchtime, I tend to think it's going to make a bit of a bounce. And I'm like, yeah, it's not going to go. Let's just get it out. The market's been range bound. We're not breaking those lows. And I get out of all of it. Should have held on to it, because here's the key thing about how weak Amazon is today. Taking out that bottom, ES, NASDAQ, holding them lows. We're still actually at the range while this is breaking through the bottom. That sometimes gives you an idea of the overall relative weakness of a name like Amazon. I understand everyone was excited about that split. Couple of days into it, there's just been these shelves. It just cannot get past. It was 124, now it's 121. Rejections of those prices. However, if you use the hard stop, 121.01, you couldn't have had this trade. You had to allow it to test that level and fade, give it a little bit of room, be willing to hold on to it a little bit longer. But more importantly, and I'll say it openly, don't get distracted away from the more important names, right? Because what will happen is you'll have something planned out, and then you can just work off that all day long. Like, you could still be playing this, maybe not to 121, but even down off that 120.50 area. You could still be playing this to the south side when you've got yourself a good directional bias. That's the type of market we're in. A lot of times during summer, you're going to have things slow down. You want to make sure you're getting the most out of the stocks that are actually moving.
Even a stock split can provide you with a week's worth of catalyst when it comes to Tony Tuesdays. That's not what I was going to talk about, but there you go. Tony can't get enough of the screen today. Federal prosecutors announcing a criminal investigation into Wells Fargo right now in their hiring practice. So it's the New York Times reporting this, guys. So big spike to the downside there on WFC on volume. Wasn't a huge move overall, but heads up on Wells Fargo. There's also MOBQ just popped up on a volume spike as well. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about all of these interesting names from this morning as well. I mean, Tesla, as I said, came off a little bit back to the downside here on volume as well. Overall, a choppy day. Back and forth we go ahead of what appears to be a very important announcement coming tomorrow morning.
Yo, what's up? Yeah, you got a fever. What's up, Jason? I got a fever. The only prescription is more Tony. Well, tomorrow on this exact desk, it'll be Neil and Tony rocking the afternoon show. So that should be a lot of fun for everybody. Welcome to the closing show. It should be a good one once again here today. We're super excited for tomorrow, obviously, with that CPI coming out. Should be a banger for us once again. But here's my Amazon. Neil's did a great job, and we basically had all the same trades, except for I'm still holding on to a little piece here as we take down 118.50, right? The sticky note today banged out BABA, banged out AMZN, Amazon as well, and the Apple short. And we're still in this name as it's basically cratering. I mean, we knew all about Amazon. Prad said the other day, like, will it see 100 again? I don't know about that, but I even said today that we would probably see this 117, 118 area. So glad to be still holding on to this one. $2.50 in the money. And I am right now looking at AMD as well. We just bought and picked the crap out of that one. Look at this fill that we have on AMD. Like, it's almost like these are fake, but they're not. So $100.56. Like, that's my long here today on AMD when the bottom is 53. So not bad right there on that. We were just absorbing that into, and again, another one right on the sticky note today. What does it say? Watch out for AMD down to that $100 level, right? So there it comes down in. We take it. Now the risk to reward well paying off here. We continue to go to the upside on that one. So Amazon short. Oh, and we just went back in to BABA. We're going to talk about all these, so I don't want to ruin the little rundown here, which is probably just every single stock I just talked about. But Alibaba also today, 118 pin. We had that short a bunch of times. The only problem with this is, and this is why I'm sick to my stomach right here, is that we got out of this on VWAP at 116. So we only took $2. It dropped all the way back down, and now we're reloaded into the long here. Wow, that went down to 118.80, eh? Okay. And we're long right now. I should have reloaded back there. I have a bid. Well, what happened there? 111.70 I was sitting at. It went to 75. Okay. Anyways, we're going to hold the rest of Alibaba here. I think the trend may have turned a little bit. Obviously, we're above the 50 period, but we're not going to hold this through 111.50 if it comes back in. So nice little trade here on Alibaba. AMD and Amazon still working out.
And just quickly here, I want to talk about, if I can, Redbox. This thing's going again. I mean, like Ian, I got to credit Ian and Tony for doing a fantastic job today.
Yes.
They were unbelievable, man. Just going on for 3 hours, dropping science, dropping knowledge. It was amazing. And I'll give the assist because I just heard them say, well, I heard Ian say specifically, he's like, Redbox is going again. I pulled it up. I was like, oh, yeah, that's a pretty significant volume spike. I remember what this daily chart looks like. And breakouts for some of these, and we'll talk about that PBTS and some of these others, how they've been going. And if you look at the breaks as opposed to the dip buys, right? You know, some of those have just been not as good when you take the clean break. And I see this at 11.20 for a bit of a double top. But really, I think the case here is about the wick off bottom at $9. The reason why I'm in the long off of VWAP here is because of the wick off bottom at $9. The consolidation break, I actually did try to grab this, but there actually wasn't a ton of liquidity when you try to get a 960 break here. So, and I didn't chase it up far enough. It's a $9 stock. I'm thinking cross 3 cents will be good enough. It actually has a 3-cent spread. This stock. So you got to cross like 5 to 10 cents if you want to get in. But that should have been the break. Instead, I grabbed some 10 break and then the dip back into VWAP. And we'll see if it gets to the high of the day. Now, what I can do is take some out in front of the high of the day next and then see if we can hold through to that 11 to 11.20 area. Maybe it goes, maybe it doesn't. But it's got a nice volume spike that you guys can't see because of the position board. It's got a nice volume spike for this move, right? It's not as big as it was at the open, but a lot of volume just came in there. That wipeout bottom, $9, holding that level, and now trying to go. So if it can hold VWAP here, I think it's got a chance. Now, it's not guaranteed that it does so, but we've seen it squeeze in the past, and there's been, 1 or 2 squeeze plays today that have gone parabolic.
This one trying right now, but not succeeding. The monkeypox stocks just popping up here. More cases being reported throughout New York City, apparently. So there was a huge volume spike there. Right back to the downside, though. So nothing to see here. Let's talk about Alibaba because that was a big story this morning in the pre-market. We mentioned the Ant IPO or the potential reemersion of the Ant IPO. The regulator in China saying they haven't reviewed anything. Then there was multiple reports saying they've already approved another Ant IPO, but back to the downside anyways, guys, for Baba.
If there's one thing that's annoying about Alibaba, it's that the levels were so ridiculously clean on BABA today that somehow it's like I held nothing, but everything was so absurdly clean. I'm not really, look at the bottom. It's like a triple or quadruple bottom, depending on how you want to look at it. It's really a triple bottom because that wick is nonsense, at about 113. So when it bounced off that at the open, all I was thinking about was your 117 level and just 118. Short it, play it back to 115, higher low, reverse it at 117 into 118. Now it's giving you dollar scalp trades back and forth, but it's so easy to get married to that notion. Like, oh yeah, it's just feeding you a dollar and forget the sheer volatility that it put in before. So on a $100 stock, you're usually thinking it's good if it's a buck back both ways. I'm like, oh man, clean shorts, dollar.
On this show, but yeah, there's 118. I can show the sticky note again, but you know, enough self-promotion on that one. Also on Instagram, by the way, right now. And yeah, there it is right there. A nice little take on 118 short. The problem is we only took 116, but we have faith in Alibaba. We went back long on a 112 break and just took some out at 113. We now have 25% left of this position. Seems like a little bit less than that, but I wonder if we had more outs there. But we will take a reload. I'm not sure though. It's coming back into 112. We break through 112. We're going to get out of this one, but that's Alibaba. Nicely done to the upside. What we wrote on the sticky note was quite simple, man. It was too far, too fast. And I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that. Like Alibaba just was $92 all the way up yesterday to 122. They come in today on some negativity from the Ant possible IPO there. And then that news gets sort of batted around back and forth. And then right now, you know, we just wanted to go long, relieve some pressure. Yesterday, Alibaba was up like 13, 14%, maybe even more than that by the end of the day. But today you're giving back a decent portion of that down 6, and we were down a lot more than that at 109, but we nailed dead to rights that 118, man, and unfortunately we got out at 116.27, so that really sucks. But anyways, big move to the downside. Now you're trying to ride this 50 period on the way up, so any sort of a breach of that. And if you're going to look at why did I get out there at 113, I mean, just look right here, 113, right? Yes. So we take the long at 112. We are like, okay, if this goes, first level's out right into here in the 50s, so we do that, and then 113 out. Now it's coming back in. We'll get out of the rest on a 112 break, but so far so good on this play. And then right now, AMD also, let's go, man. AMD turning heads right here, trying to get back to Greensville. We just talked about that, Phil. We just took another out right there on the way back up. So give this one like 30 or 40 cents of downside pressure there to break through 100, and now you're up about $1. So another risk to reward right here on AMD. And Amazon, yeah, no worries here. Let's see where this can go. I'm debating getting out on a 119 break, to be honest with you. This is already $2 in the money. It's $2.50 in the money right now, this AMD short off of right here. We held it. We held about 10, more than that, about 20% or so of this position, maybe more. But now it's come back down. Nice trade. Normally we'd have got out right here, but we hold through that 119.50 break, and we don't get rewarded all the way because we don't get out at 118. But I'm debating just standing there. I feel like we could get this, Phil, if we're lucky enough to do that. So good trading today on BABA, needless to say.
Just quickly, guys, Stitch Fix on a big move here, 10% to the downside on heavy volume. They just announced they're going to reduce their workforce by 15%. So Stitch Fix getting sold pretty hard. Let's go on to NIO. 6% move to the downside currently for NEO. Trying to get higher, though, currently, back above 19 off earnings.
Yeah, I mean, actually, first things first. I mean, we talked about 113 there. Sean got out. I just finished saying 113 short. It went 113 to 112 half, and then it's probably going to go to 112. If it bounces in that dollar range the rest of the afternoon, I mean, it's just going to behoove you to take the it's just going to be worth your while to have that trade over and over again. And remember, I talked about opportunity costs. So it wasn't. I said only 2 names. You can add NEO to that list as well. While I was messing around with that stupid PBTS. And NEO was another one I liked to the short side. And it was 1950 was my out for NEO. Short in front of it, I got the 25s. We got the 1-to-1. I stopped it out, and then look what happens. It does a little bit of a tick above, gets like 10, 15 cents above that price, rejects it, and then was just a short off of that level for the rest of the day. Now it's getting back there now, so I guess if we spike far enough, we'd be looking back toward that same high on NIO. Now overall, I mean, 6% to the downside. after their earnings, which, look. The thing is, it's not like the earnings were that bad. They certainly didn't guide all that well. It has probably more to do with the market sentiment than anything else, and quite frankly, where NIO had come from. Because you almost doubled from the bottom on NIO, and it looked like you were breaking out that 50 period. It's just sometimes you've run a little bit too strong into something like that, and you really need to blow things out to really have anything but a sell the news type of event. So, it ended up being 1950-ish, that area. I think if it pops again, you give it a little bit more room to like 60 or 65 for this afternoon to try to fade it. But overall, it's really just this. Like, imagine that this didn't even happen. Like that one day that we had on Tuesday. Is that Tuesday? No, sorry, that's yesterday. It's almost like this didn't happen. You have a previous high here that just evaporated a day after, and then it's putting in the same top. So it's looking like it'll be that old head and shoulders, or whatever you want to call it, type of play. And that means your resistance is still spot on, just above 1950.
All right.
Back to day highs, one that the guys were talking about on the midday show a little.
Off the open, some nice volatility, then another short at 1920 and all the way down and out right now. But NIO was a good one for me today. I didn't trade Tesla at all. I know Neil's been looking at that for the last couple of days. I've sort of picked my poison with other heavyweight techs, but this is another good one. I think Tesla up to 765. Geez, wow. That was a beautiful move upside there for Tesla today. Off of more good news. I mean, if you're going to talk about good news in the EV space, it's generally coming from one company, and that's going to be Tesla. So I consider this to be at this point. I keep every time it goes near that 700 mark, I'm like, man, I feel dumb for not selling some of this. But then you get days like today where you make these moves back to 780 and, possibly are thinking, hey, maybe this is the one that gets back to all-time highs back up here near 1200. So we'll have to watch out for Tesla. But just on a minute chart, again, respecting this bottom here of 725. What just happened there? Oh, Baba went back down, so we got out of that one, so that's okay. After taking the dollar win, we get out for flat. Oh, no, actually, the last one was a win. Okay, but anyways, down here, 725 is definitely a location to look at for some strength in Tesla. It looks like we're coming down to that pretty fast right now. You could break this low of the day right here, 731. Look, heading into what is going to be CPI tomorrow, you just got to be careful with these high value names. Tesla still has a huge PE. It's still $735. It's been an amazing ride for this name, and I just feel like I want the whole Elon Musk stuff to settle down, and then we can look at Tesla a little more aggressively for me, anyways, as far as buying it. But I like the stock. I just don't trade it that often.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted Tesla to be a long today. I said I'm looking for longs. Either it's off 725, that area that we supported yesterday, or if we get above 750, it's got room to break out. But the market,
Go over quickly to the 20-minute just to see where there's some possibilities. 144, if you're going to go long, is basically where I would do it. I mean, this is not rocket science. I'm just looking at a chart, trying to find areas of support and resistance. If you really thought we were getting close, 144.50 is right here as well. But if you can't, I mean, this is why. There's no bigger tech than Apple, right? So this is why right here, why I think we keep going shorter on the NASDAQ and a lot of these names, because Apple has this 150 ping to it and it doesn't want to break. So there's going to have to be something coming out about why Apple deserves to go up another $4 or $5. When I see that, I'll completely change my rhetoric about this name. But for right now, I am shorting Apple every single day whenever it comes into these levels, 149 or 150. I want to be proven wrong on the upside. So let's see where we go here with Apple. And by the way, Neil, I don't know if you're going to talk about NVIDIA or just the market in general, but right now, because you were traded NVIDIA today, did you?
A little bit. Actually, no NVIDIA. I was talking about it, but it never really set up.
Yeah.
I didn't end up getting into it. I was going to talk about the market because there's a good point you made about Apple. And look, let's be real. If you think the ES is breaking resistance without Apple getting above that 150, it would take a lot. Like you saw what happened today. Like Tesla was super strong this morning. Couldn't go without everything else. The ES is not going to get out of this channel, whether it's 4,200, 42.1. You're going to keep rubbing against that and rejecting it. Even the lower highs are rejecting as long as a name like Apple can't get going. But I did want to quickly I know we're talking, we're actually done. the rundown a little bit there. But there was something that was strong, a few other things that were strong today. Home Depot and Costco. I know when Brendan did the rundown, you would have seen Costco having a strong day today. Home Depot as well, just churned through 300. And sometimes we lose sight of these stocks. But 300 on Home Depot was a big level. I remember that. I wasn't there this morning to catch it off of 300, but it made about as clean a double top as you will see at 307. You know, sometimes it's not about, yeah, this is not rocket science. It's 307, double top, consolidation, fall to VWAP. The mistake I think here was actually tried a long when we bounced off VWAP thinking, okay, if the market bounces, we can get back to the high. But really, when in a downward market, care about support more than anything else, right? Like if you're a trending market up, be aggressive on dips because that's working. If you're in a trending market down, you don't want to be super aggressive on dips. You actually want to wait for consolidations where there's been price acceptance, and that was more down at 303 and not 304. 304 is where it broke out from. If I was going to try and catch this, I should have caught this at 303 if I think the market is going to bounce, which I can now wait for, but let it consolidate first. In a weak market, you'll short pops and just sort of sit in there on a bigger name. But in a weak market, you should also be more patient with your long ideas.
Polls, you saw a few people still talking about KSS coming back to the downside a little bit here. Again, there wasn't an announcement of any sort on this deal finally getting done. It was simply that franchise group, who seems to be the front runner, had apparently secured a $2 billion loan from Apollo Group in order to finance this deal, which apparently is going to be $8 billion. So volume coming back in a little bit to the downside here for Kohl's, guys. But just to clarify, some people were still wondering what the deal is with KSS.
What is the deal with KS? It's also not like the board hasn't even accepted this thing.
Right.
So I think there's a lot to digest there. This is not a Twitter situation, man. Like you're not buying Kohl's and getting $60. Although I've said it like before. And the analogy I will use if the board doesn't accept the $60 for Kohl's is like they're going to pull a Yahoo. And like I don't remember the year because I'm old now, but I do remember when Yahoo was on the block and they're like, no, we're worth more than that. We're great. And it's like you didn't see the writing on the wall. There was mismanagement. Obviously, the mistakes were made. But you don't want to be in that position if you're Kohl's. It's insane. Like I actually think I would sooner buy Kohl's to hold for 60 than I would buy Twitter to hold for 54.20 because I actually can't imagine the board would screw this one up and not realize that they can get $60. And they've been making a lot of mistakes here, and that's a good return. It's been an absolute mess. If this falls through, like where do you think this is headed to? What's happening to some of these retail names? So we'll see, but just don't treat it like a done deal. It's more in that Twitter fear. Twitter space where this is a deal that has high risk of not being done. You don't know what the timeline is going to be. At least with Twitter, you do know the timeline. There's a lot of risk still involved with this. So there's a play to be made if you like the long and want to hope out for $60. But it's not even close to the finish line here.
Just in case you guys are wondering, I'm just tweeting it out right now. We are now officially out, so we'll go cannons alert for this one. Actually, you know what? Where's me firing off hot dogs? That's been a long time for that one. I think that just got pulled away from here. Yeah, I don't have the hot dog cannon anymore, but it's money bag right here. As there it goes, Amazon comes out of the pocket right here. Big win. Shout out to SneakerCon if you're watching. I know that you were talking to me about Amazon earlier as well right there, but there it is to the downside goes Amazon. Out of it now off this 121. So we'll post it. We're pretty happy about this play. Amazon to the downside. Let's just get out of it now. I mean, the NASDAQ's down 1% and pushing here. Amazon's bounced off 118. It may be a little early to get out of this name, but we're going to get out of it anyways. And then before we just do a little video here, I want to talk about getting out of AMD if and when we ever take down this $100.90. We are long at $100.57, and we've been cleaning up AMD here for sure. But right now, AMD to the downside. We just took out of our Amazon for $3. That was a monster win, so really happy about that one. We'll continue to short Amazon, and without any further ado, let's give it back to Brendan.
All right, guys, we've had a ton of questions lately about this current market and the conditions that we're dealing with. If you're a new trader, getting into a market of this state is kind of difficult. Doesn't mean to say there isn't long opportunities. In this video, we're going to tell you that just because we're in a bear market doesn't mean there aren't long opportunities, whether it's intraday, guys, or on a swing basis, 2-3 days, even a week long. Some of the better opportunities, in fact, from a volatility standpoint in the bear market can be on the long side.
Yeah, I think that's one thing to look at. I think obviously, one of the things that you think about for long opportunities in a bear market, sometimes you just want to think about how a stock reacts to bad news, right? And for a lot of times, no one's going to be able to pick bottoms. I think we all understand that sort of gambling and saying, oh, this is the bottom, I'm just going to buy in because this is a level on a chart, or it's a 10% or 50% or whatever percentage retracement. That's asking a lot. So a lot of what I'd be looking to see for individual names that might give you an idea is what is the reaction to bad news. And just in particular, I want to sort of name has a monster gap down, and it's just all pre-market. All you're hearing about is how bad things look and how horrible the bottom is. Just watch out for one thing. If it makes a significant low, and I'll zoom back out so that you can see on the 15-minute, and by significant low, I mean take out its recent bottom, this 145.50. And I remember this because I said this to myself, and I might have even tweeted it. If it takes out a 145 bottom, holds the low in the pre-market, and never reclaims that level. Right? At the open, was there anybody selling it into that previous low, 145.50? Nope. Did it break that bottom at 143? Nope. Sometimes that means it is just a long. Now, it's only been a long for a couple of days here, and I know it hasn't broken back out of this channel, but so far, even in a down market like today, it hasn't really broken these lows, and that's the reaction I want to look for. And so when you have these beaten up names, just look to see if there's follow through. If everything is doom and gloom and everyone thinks it's just got to continue heading down, a little tiny sign like that even in the midst of all that panic selling in the pre-market, it couldn't make a fresh low. And then it held the higher low.
Splitting right here on this day. So when you look at a chart, you come up June 6th, right, is when it came out as the split day, and it goes all the way up here to the 50 period. But look where we started. Just a week before, we were down here at 103. On the split day, you went all the way up to 128. That is a 25% move in 1 week before the split. All right, Sean, you know what? That's Amazon, right? So, maybe that's over with. Is there another split coming?
Bounce off of this. We haven't really tested 40.65 on the ES. We've gotten within 5 points of it. And whenever we get within 5 points, we bounce. If we get through that, the bigger level is down here, 40.25. But that's why I took Home Depot. In case we bounce off this, quick little scalp to the long side. And I believe we have a bit of a treat.
We talked about this segment.
A bit of a treat for you. We did talk about the segment. Somehow we forgot to tee it up a little more aggressively. Brendo, surprise them.
Yeah, back by popular demand, and hopefully the first of many to come. We are so happy to have Sonia Lois with us from Las Vegas, Nevada, our guest trader of the day, joining us to talk a little bit about the market, talk about the overall week ahead of what is to come tomorrow. Sonia, it's great to see you, by the way. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you, Brendan. So nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you as well. Let's jump into a few things, happening with the market overall today. We touched on Tesla early on this morning. Initial strength with the gap to the upside on the upgrade. Some positive numbers out of China. Tell us what you were looking at today, if anything.
Well, what I was looking at today, I have a lot of stuff I look at all day, and I am in a lot. But BRQS, it was something I was looking at, and I know it did a little quick jump today, and I'm still looking at that. So I'm working with that one. But what I really look at always is Rivian, Mullen. I love Mullen. I love the EV side of everything. And another thing that I was looking at, I also look at Tesla and Apple, always Apple, and especially with the CPI report coming out tomorrow. I'm interested to see if things go down. And as you were speaking about 10 minutes ago, that's the best time to jump in for long term.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be an exciting morning tomorrow. Again, 8:30, we'll get an inflation update or consumer price index update, at least from the U.S. I'm going to pass you off to Neil and Sean here. We'll get back into the market and back into trading. Great to have you with us, Sonia.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Sonia. But I just wanted to ask you first a couple of questions.
Rivian,
One,
Rivian.
what is the art in the back? And two, I'm very curious what you were doing if you were trading a little bit of Rivian. In addition, I think one of the names you mentioned was even a penny stock. So Tesla, Rivian, EV space, Mullen, as well. Is it really just about a comfort level with the EVs? Is that what it's all about, or is it specifically you just like those charts? So just give me a background about your style there.
Great. I really see a future in EVs. I know it's coming up. I feel like right now is the time to get in long-term and for day trading. And I just love to see the move of it. I really think Rivian is a gorgeous car. And I kind of want to have like this side story that, one day I bought, X amount of shares, and, 2 years later, I took those shares and I bought, one car cash. And that's my little cute side story of how Rivian worked for me. Maybe in a year or two, you could bring me on and I could tell you all about that story. Mullen, I think Mullen is a beautiful car. And I think at $1, how could somebody, $1, I think 20 or so right now, how could someone pass that up? It's a great price. And I think I'm a car girl. That's what it is.
Sonia, how did you? Hey, what's up? Thank you for joining us one more time again here today. Why did you get into day trading?
Is kind of like I forgot, it's like space recognition. I think it's called like 360. So when you go to something like a real estate site, that's the technology you see. When you don't have to actually go to the house, you could go in, out, side by side, each room, see what size the room is, and that's the technology supposedly they're going to be using in the metaverse. Right now, it's pretty low, and maybe tomorrow will be a little lower. So if somebody wants to hold something for a long time, look into maybe some kind of metaverse stocks or maybe Matterpoint.
That's funny, Sonia. Yeah, I was talking about Matterport as well, down all the way. I mean, look at the daily chart here. Been absolutely destroyed. $34. You can throw that on Fahad. $34 all the way down here to $4. But I agree with you. This is a name that I like. I also actually like Roblox possibly there, but Roblox has a few other things involved with it. They had that Paris Hilton did her New Year's Eve party or whatever it was with Roblox. Let's just check out that little look here as well. RBLX, what is it? That's not down 10% today, is it? No, down 6%, still getting killed. But wow, that bottom was 20. So I'm sort of with you on some of these plays. If you're looking for that value, give us one lesson maybe, Sonia, that you had to learn the hard way. Was it a stock that maybe you averaged into too far and couldn't get out, wound up taking a big hit or anything like that? We have a lot of new traders out here that are looking to improve themselves, right? So is there something that gave you that sort of wake up or aha moment? I just made a mistake. I'm never going to make that again. Was there anything like that in your trading career so far?
Yes, there has. I have a good story and a bad story. Today was a bad story. My BRQS, I was a little low on, down on that. So when it shot up, I got very excited, and I didn't listen to the news or, figure out why I was jumping. I just said, let me get rid of it because I'm tired of looking at it. But then it started flying up, and then I got fear of missing out, and I went back in to buy a little more. So it's still moving, but I think that when you're in the green, the lesson I'll teach is that when you're in the green, keep going, keep going. Don't sell it. When you start seeing it going close to what you have bought it for and you want to get out of it, okay, that's fine. But if you're in the green, it keeps moving the green, don't sell just yet, my opinion. And also for the good story to keep in mind, keep a community. I watch you all the time, every day, and that helps me when Brendan comes on and tells me breaking stories. I, keep the know. I try to dig through business reports, business news before the news breaks. So if I like a company, I'll go look, do all my research, see what kind of products they're coming out with, what day it's coming out with, and then I run with that. Like Mullen, on the 27th of June, I believe it's going into 2 indexes. So I'm keeping my eye on that. So if it goes down tomorrow, I'm going to pack up on my Mullen.
All right, Sonia, thank you so much. I mean, some valuable lessons right there. I'm actually stuck in Meta right now. The market is tank city right here as the NASDAQ keeps on going down. So, Sonia, I'm going to thank you. We're going to get our viewers back to this market. I'll throw you back to Brendan and wrap this up. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great stuff. We appreciate your time. Sonia Lois joining us from Las Vegas, Nevada. Hopefully we can do this again. Thank you, Sonia.
Hi, Brandon.
Have a great afternoon. Yeah, lots of stuff going on, guys. Let's jump back into some action.
Like,
yeah, the market just did a bit of a turn.
The market here, bang, right now, blow up city right here. My meta didn't work. That 188 came and gone pretty fast there. We just got out, like literally right now. I told you there with Sonia that, you know, we were in trouble a little bit here with meta as that just kept on falling down that 4.5% today. So down goes meta, down to 187.50 and still making moves to the downside. The trade that I missed that I should have, I had a big position going. I don't know. I have to find out where I crossed down to. I'm surprised I didn't get any shares on this. But Amazon, hello, flush city on AMZN right now. Nothing but love to the downside on Amazon. It just broke 118, man. Like that short that we had earlier, 121 out at 118. Kaboom. That is crash city right now, down for Amazon. And again, this is a name that we were all over this morning. We love that short. I love the meta long against that 188. So maybe if it comes back up, we could test it. But right now the market is throwing up all over itself. And I'm just really upset that I'm still in a small meta. You'll see that there, but I've gotten rid of the majority of it. That was the last average in we had, was that 188.23. We got out on a 188 break. So about 23 cents on the last part, but we wound up losing about $1 or so on the whole position there. So that wasn't great, but Meta, again, a hard name to trade for me today. Downside just kept on going down. And then honestly, guys, Apple is the biggest disgrace for me because we were only short until I decided to flip long, lost, and then we didn't go back short. So unfortunately, Apple continues its slide down there as well. Oh, and then AMD, we tested that long. Oh, that trade here at 100. Okay, AMD alert, I'm gonna take this long at 100. I have to do it to test $100.
Yeah, I mean, it's 100, man. I was about to say the same thing, so I'm glad you got over to it. But I will say, I actually did try a couple longs. Home Depot obviously blew out. Thank God we had to stop because it's $1 lower. So we got out of that one when it broke 302.50. But Novavax also took out the low of the day barely. I was trying the long off the bottom. That was another short. I talk about opportunity cost, man. It's just got away from Novavax and way too early. The stock, I genuinely feel bad for executives at that company. I've said that. I'm saying that to Brennan and Sean the last couple of days. Like, imagine after all these years, finally getting off the hump, get that next stage for your approval, and then all of a sudden you're hitting recent lows, like within a couple of days. It's just to sell the news, and they're actually in the dumps right now. 100 on AMD. I'm not unconvinced Amazon doesn't hit 100 either, but when these stocks as a day trader get to levels like this, you're just gonna go long in front of them. It's the same way you short a Tesla 750. It's the same way we short Tesla 1000. Go long when they hit the even dollar levels. Just a good day trade. Like you saw what happened, when Baba was taking out some of those even levels, they were just good in either direction. I think we'll get the same thing potentially with AMD down here at 100. I don't see anything else that's at a gigantic level other than this.
Sorry about whistling, that's probably too loud, but wow, to the downside goes AMD, continuing to go to the downside. Everything is falling out. I'm beside myself that I don't have that short in Amazon. We really tried. I mean, we tried that, but I don't even want to look at Tesla because I'm going to say to myself I should have sold it again, and it'll be the same rhetoric over and over. But we tried that 118 break, man, and I crossed down. I don't even know how much I crossed down. I was going to say 10 cents, but I feel like it was more than that. We missed it. I don't know. That one candle there on the break back down, like that just went to one. I mean, I guess it wasn't that bad. 117.77. I feel like, oh man, like that short would have paid for my Facebook long. That didn't work. So anyways, we don't have that, but there it is right there. Amazon breaking back down through 118, and the saga continues. Wu-Tang on that one. But I'm going to the Wu-Tang concert. You know, you have a good wife when she messages you about a couple weeks ago and is like, hey, Wu-Tang and Nas is playing at the Molson Amphitheater there. Now it's called the Budweiser stage.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Budweiser stage. Yeah.
Molson Amphitheater.
Yeah, I thought it was, exactly.
What?
And she's like, yo, do you want to go see Wu-Tang and Nas? And I'm like, is this my wife? Yeah. But so we're going. We got tickets there. A few friends going to that as well. That should be fun. And that's not until the summertime. But anyways, Wu-Tang Financial, get your bonds straight with that. Look that up.
Diversify your bonds.
Dave Chappelle right there. Diversify your bonds with Mr. Dave Chappelle and Wu-Tang Financial. But okay, here goes AMD, man. We're long at 55. 54 here. No stress on this trade yet, but it's coming in right here. So watch out. Here's the daily chart for AMD, looking like it wants to take down a hundy, man. And if it does that, you got to watch out below. We'll be here for that trade, but we're long now into this. That wick the other day was $100.40, which is right where we are right now. That very bottom is $99.50. So it'll be a big hit, but if that 99.50 comes into play there, then I'll be a sad, sad man today. We're going to go long right now. We're long Meta still. This already broke. Unfortunately, it's not going to work on our chart, but you could see Meta today, ever since that symbol change, it opened at 198. Okay, this is a 20-minute chart. Like, I don't know how else I can show you this. I can show you a 1 minute.
And been on the stock, I would have shorted 330 for the 10% here. Like that's a style I'll do every single time, and sometimes it runs you over, like that PBTS, which
Where's that?
A little bit of a bounce here finally in the market, but I'll show you PBTS. Not a good one.
That's not run over. That's trying to catch that. We have a run us over. Here it is. Oh no, this is. I think you're throwing. You're throwing me under the bus here. What? Ooh, that's. Yeah,
that's a little morbid.
That's a little violent there. What? Do you have the other one? I don't know.
Shoot, I thought I did, but I think I have the other one too. I have one where I'm running after the bus. I have one where I'm chasing.
How about this one?
Like, what is that about?
Oh, that's missing the boat.
Missing the boat.
That's missing the boat. But
I
think that one that I just
ended up jumping on top of the bear with you there.
Might be the most appropriate rate up in here. Okay, so right now, AMD, hallelujah. This is bouncing right now off that bottom. Unfortunately, it only went down to $100.30. I'm at $100.11, so we missed that fill.